Hi, I'm Steve from Rekord and welcome to our channel. This is a place where you can find videos about cars and about how to drive cars, so make sure you subscribe to get the latest content. Today I was surprised with this, a McLaren 600 LT, and what a beauty it is. The reason why I say I was surprised was I thought I was going to be driving a 720S, but more about that later. So to get the technical specs out of the way, it's got 592 horsepower and 457 torques. That's coming from a 3.8 litre V8 twin turbo engine. And what a beauty it is. I mean, you should hear this thing, and you will hear this thing. 0 to 60 is a tad under 3 seconds. They quoted at 2.9, I believe, but my understanding is they're fairly conservative with that, and it's actually a little faster than that. So we actually drove this today alongside a 720S and a GT. That was really the whole range of different experiences you could get from McLaren cars, going from this, which is very much a track-focused car, all the way through to the GT, which is, as its name implies, is a Grand Tourer, and a beautiful car it is. And then in the middle, you've got the combination of the two with the absolutely bonkers 720S, and we're going to look at those in another video. Now, this one is a convertible. From 2020, they only make it in a convertible. The coupe is no longer made. I actually didn't have the roof off today because the day topped out at 120 degrees, and I thought that was a little warm. But we had a lot of fun driving it, and this car's manners on the road are unbelievable. It's not a car that I would want to drive on the road every day. It's a track-focused car, as you'll see when I show you the inside. So it's a little harsh, but you can drive it in stop-and-go traffic. It's very comfortable. It's not what you'd expect from a stripped-out track car. You would think that it would be very abrupt in the gear changes in traffic, but it's not. It's very, very smooth, both in manual and automatic. It's got a 7-speed flappy paddle gearbox, and it's got 3 settings in terms of the tuning of that gearbox. So if you have it in normal, I find the gear changes are very, very good. A little bit slow on the downshift sometimes, but if you put it in track, it holds the lower gear for the longest time, and it's just begging you to thrash it.
We're on the highway at the moment. I'm not sure if you can actually hear me because it's so bloody noisy in this car. I got it in automatic, and I must admit it was holding the gears quite a lot more than I like, and then it just kind of rapidly went through everything. Now I just put my foot down, and it just kicked down immediately, and this thing is a screaming banshee. No point doing what I just did, looking over my right shoulder to see if anybody's there. You can't see anything, so I'm going to have to rely on the mirrors. They're actually digging up this road at the moment, so there's a lot of noise coming up from the wheels. But this car has very little insulation. There's not much. There's not much extra weight in this, so the insulation is minimal from what I understand. It's got a very loud exhaust. We're getting a lot of road noise coming up from the tyres, and when you're on track, you don't care about that stuff. But really living with this car day to day, I think it would get a bit bothersome. Now we're going along here at 65. It's in automatic, and it's holding me in 5th gear. I believe this is a 7-speed transmission. So if I was driving it in manual, I would actually drop down, and I just put it into manual, and it's immediately quieter. And this car has got plenty of torque, so it could handle being in a higher gear. You are very snug in here, and you can tell it's a track-focused car because I'm really held in very tight in this seat. There's no adjustment, and you don't move around at all. It's a really, really nice feeling. It's a very snug cockpit, and it's got this vertical touchscreen display in the middle with some physical buttons, which if you've seen my other videos you'll know that I like physical buttons. This vertical screen is very well laid out in terms of simple things. It's not overly ample horsepower, I think that's what we'll say. And it's got ample torques too. You can really fly when you put your foot down. I haven't dared put my foot all the way down in traffic, but when you put your foot down, it's just the immediate power. It's certainly is a little bumpy in the track setting. I've now gone to Sport, which is still bumpy. Oh, it's a big bloody bump. Oh, it actually wasn't too bad. Yep, still have all my fillings. Now I've got the suspension set in track, and even though it's stiff, it's not hugely uncomfortable. And gear changes are really nicely matched. I don't know if you can hear that, but it does blip. We've got a 30-mile-an-hour corner coming up, which I'm guessing we probably shouldn't take at 80. So I'm putting it straight into normal to see if there is much difference. And it's definitely smoother, way smoother. Now this car does have carbon ceramic brakes on, and they slow the car very progressively. I mean, I was a little surprised when I first got into it how much bite there was, but when you're moving, they do ground slow you down very, very nicely. This car inspires a tremendous amount of confidence. I've never driven this road at speed before, and it holds the road beautifully. There's a little bit of movement because I'm in the softest setting. I've now gone to track and I immediately feel every bump in the road, which is a good thing. So this is a bumpy road, but the car isn't unnecessarily upset by it. These cars have great road holding. I mean, the grip is phenomenal. And these are roads where if you drive off, you're in the lake.
So that was that for day one. The next day involved an early morning start in the dark, but that gave a good opportunity to show you the instrument cluster before I set off. Here you can see the normal and sport mode with all the normal information you'd expect to see clearly laid out. But if you put it into track, the display changes completely and gives you just the important details. A digital rev counter, shift indicator lights, and the current gear, along with the tire pressures and temperatures, interestingly enough, and the fuel level. So here we are with the McLaren 600 LT in its natural habitat at the track. I have promised not to take this car out on track, so no drifting today. A few details about this car. LT signifies Longtail, and it's the moniker that McLaren have used since 1997 to denote their most track-focused, stripped-out, lightweight cars. LT actually means Longtail, and it was first used in 1997 on the Gordon Murray-designed F1 GTR Longtail, which was entered into Le Mans, and the idea of the Longtail was to make the car longer so it would sit better on the Mulsanne straight at top speed. And that car actually won Le Mans, despite having an older engine design. So McLaren have used LT to signify it's a track car, and this is their latest iteration in the LT line. It's not actually a longer car anymore. The LT is just used to differentiate between something like the 720S, which is a softer car but a very good performing car, and a pure track car. Taking a look inside this car, you can see that there is nothing in the name of luxury in this. It's a pure track-focused car, and it's beautifully finished in these seats. Even though they are the P1 seats, they are leather with the nice Alcantara. And if you look in terms of weight saving on the floor, it's just a simple mat, and then you've got the carbon fiber tub right underneath it. So not a lot of frivolous we're at the racetrack, so you can hear a bunch of noise. So very simple switch gear, all very well placed. Obviously engine start stop. These are the buttons for the suspension and the transmission. This button here, you actually have to press this once the ignition is on to activate these buttons, otherwise it just stays in the normal settings. Press this for launch control, and it actually has start stop, which you can override if you want. Gear change here. This is for the rear window roof, because this is a convertible, has it, and that's it. And then you've got this touchscreen in the middle. Normally I don't like touchscreens, but this one is very, very simple and very intuitive. And you've got a few hard buttons down here as well, which will kind of take you into the various screens. Nicely set out. And you'll see here no glove compartment. So there's nowhere to put your gloves. We do have this small center armrest with USB connections, and there is this very, very small pocket in the door with the net here, and I'm guessing the net is there to stop everything falling out. But that's pretty much it for the cockpit. One thing I do like is this steering wheel. No buttons at all, just the rocker paddles on the back, so you can change up or down on either side. And that's it, and a few stalks. Very nice in here, very purposeful, and it tells me it's got one purpose, and that's to go on track very, very fast. Very nice. I talked about the LT and the naming convention denoting Longtail. The number part of it indicates the amount of metric horsepower that the car produces. So this one has 600 PS, which gives the 592 horsepower. McLaren has stripped out as much weight as possible in this car, so it tips the scales at under 3,000 pounds, giving it a very impressive power to weight ratio. We already talked about the 0 to 60 time, but the engine propels the car to a top speed of 204 miles an hour and will do the standing quarter mile in a nippy 10.4 seconds. On the road it is well mannered, but you really can't make the most of its potential there, so you really need to bring it to a place like this where you can really unleash the beast. However, we are here at Apex Motor Club in Maricopa just to do some static shots today and slow moving close-ups, so there will be no beast unleashing while we're here. We promised McLaren Scottsdale that we would be careful and thank them very much for the loan of the car to do this feature, and we're actually doing a promo for a charity track day coming up on October the 17th to benefit Child Help. So if you are local or would like to fly in to support a good cause, you can reach out to us in the comments or at trackrekord.com. I'll put a link in the description to give you more details about it. Now this car comes with a base price of just over $250,000. This particular one is spec'd out with options to $288,000. First of all, it has a what I would call a track pack clear bra on it, so the front of the car has this self-healing plastic film on it, and most importantly the windshield has a film on it to protect against rock chips, which can be very prevalent on track. One thing that we found extremely useful yesterday driving this car around in an urban environment is a lift kit. So you can press a button inside, actually you lift a lever inside, and the car raises up so you can get over speed bumps, and that really helped me getting in and out of my driveway last night because I have a very steep driveway. Other options are the paint. I mean, it does come with paint, but this particular shade of blue is a $4,000 option on this car. The car also comes with a fabulously upgraded stereo. It's this multi-speaker Bowers & Wilkins sound system, which sounds, even in a stripped out car like this, it still sounds superb. And the carbon fiber, the Alcantara and leather, those are all upgrades in this car. So it's a very nicely spec'd car for a little under $300,000. Side scoops on this car are not only beautiful, but they are very functional because they direct the air around the body and into these air intakes. And these are beautifully done. If you see here, Like this whole part here is air scoops and functional. And to open the door on this one, there's a button underneath. You reach underneath and lift the door up. Excellent for roasting marshmallows. So if you enjoyed this video as much as we did making it, please give us the thumbs up and leave us your comments below. And if you want to see more great content like this, press this button here to subscribe to our channel. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.